Good afternoon. We are the event planning agency, and we're working to help increase attendance at the Hilltop Mentors program events. They're currently lacking attendance at all of their events, and that's detrimental to their program. And so today we hope to give you some ideas that will help increase attendance rate at these events. So today you'll hear from Nacho Trevino with the introduction, so he'll just go over everything that we've been throughout our semester, followed by Dominique Dolly on the primary research collection. Then you'll hear from Adrian Gonzalez about primary research analysis, followed by secondary research presented by myself. Then you'll hear from Stuart Sayes with the findings, conclusions, and recommendations. And I will conclude with an overview of our presentation. So now I'll pass it over to Nacho.
Hello, I am Nacho Trevino, and I'm going to be talking about the introduction. And just for starters, our client, as you already know, is Natalie Ruiza from the Hilltop Mentors program. She's the program coordinator. And just an overview of the problem that we're having is the lack of mentor and mentee attendance at the semester events. So this lack of attendance has led to a concern that the attendance is low due to insufficient knowledge, events people would prefer to go to. And for the background, the events leading up to the problem start off with the Hilltop Mentors program having no research to base their events on. So you could say they've been having a lack of keeping tabs, so which made it hard for us because since they had no prior research, we had to completely start from scratch. And the main purpose of our project is to one, provide analysis of the Hilltop Mentors program's events, and two, recommend specific solutions that should increase overall attendance. Now, the significance of our project is that this program requires a well-balanced member-to-mentee ratio. So having a large attendance rate is essential. So without that, the program basically crumbles because the program's events are a crucial element, and having a broad idea of which events people would want or would rather have is important, and as well as convenient times. So if people do not attend events, they begin to lose interest, which harms the program as a whole. And our main goal is to basically find which programs people want to go to so that the mentee to mentor ratio is balanced. Now I'm going to pass it off to Dominique.
Hello, I'm Dominique Dolly, and I'm going to talk about the collection of our primary research. So the population chosen by our event planning agency was both students and undergraduate and new college and teachers currently enrolled or employed at St. Edward's. Since our ultimate goal was to increase attendance within the Hilltop Mentors program, our agency chose this audience because it provided an accurate representation of the current and possible future members. The selection process of choosing random students and faculty was thought to be the most effective way to get a good representation of our varied population. The agency created an online survey via SurveyMonkey, and then it was distributed via email to the randomly chosen population. Members of our group also created a supply of printed copies, which were then handed out on campus throughout classes that each of us attend. Our agency wanted to create a survey that would best identify the current issues of the declining population within the mentor program, and we wanted to deliver the best results and highlight the top concerns of both faculty and students. So our group held a meeting, and we discussed the issues that needed to be addressed within the survey, and then we created questions. Each of us contributed 3 questions, and then the group collectively decided on the top 10 most relevant questions and the most appropriate responses. And from those top questions, then we created the survey using SurveyMonkey. I will now pass it on to Adrian.
Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Adrian Gonzalez, and I'm going to talk to you about the primary research data analysis. First, the event planning agency distributed 628 surveys through SurveyMonkey and physical copies. Out of those 628 surveys, 129 were responded, having 110 coming from physical copies and 19 from SurveyMonkey. Okay, no invalid survey responses were received during the data collection. This meaning that that any of the surveys we received had any type of error, such as having to answer circle for a question, or a question left in blank, or even a contradiction from the data provided for the first two questions. By receiving an optimal amount of surveys from data collection, the event planning agency strived to obtain a 95% level of confidence. Yet the goal was not reached, and instead we reached a 91% level. During the counting process, the event planning agency divided the surveys into sections so the tallying of the information could be more simple. After each member did their part, another team member took charge of summing up the tallies and created a final draft in Excel with the response of the collected surveys. Following the counting of surveys, the team began analyzing data, which results served as a guideline to suggest topics to look up for the secondary research. I will now pass Katie, who's going to explain the secondary research.
Hi, I'm Katie, and I'm going to go over the secondary research we did. So we looked into several online databases, including databases from the library, and then other articles we found from other colleges, seeing what they did at their events that have the highest attendance rates. And from these sources, we came up with three main themes that we wanted to look at, and those were the best times for events, and the influence student involvement has on a student's experience, and appealing events to students. And according to Drawing a Crowd, which was an article that we found online, entertainment was one of the main motivators for students to attend events. And from June Chang, who wrote Student Involvement in the College Atmosphere, said that having interactive events will help keep the interest level up during events. So from our secondary research, that's how we came up with some of our recommendations that we give. So now I'll pass it to Stuart and we'll present our results.
So at the conclusion of all of this, we were able to draw a number of findings from both our primary and our secondary research. And a lot of these findings were geared toward the characteristics of events that would suffice our purpose and increase attendance at all of these semester events. So through our primary findings, through these survey results, a free meal was one of the most motivating factors for someone to attend, because everyone likes to eat, and people would like to go and get a interaction and be fed. I repeat myself. And the most appealing event would be, on our survey, was to go to Amy's Ice Cream and then follow it by watching a Hilltoppers sports game afterwards. So it's across the street and walk back. And in the event that a speaker was to be represented at a event, it would the most appealing topic was Austin activities and things that could be done perhaps around campus or within the surrounding area. The most high-rate reason why someone wouldn't attend is just because of the lack of interest, and this was used to serve a foundation of a lot of our recommendations, which I will touch on after these findings. And in addition to these characteristics is the time and place of the week. So in the evening weekdays was the most ideal time, and the duration should last an hour or less, depending on activities and the size of the event. And emails was the most preferred method of distributing the invitations and the details for the events. And our secondary research broadened the foundation for our recommendations. We found three findings from our secondary research. Lack of communication was a reason why people didn't attend. Involvement in the event, or involvement in a organization teaches the value of persistence and commitment, so that's kind of a motivating factor for an individual who's looking to attend. And the new environment's hard to embrace, and that is why there's a lack of attendance. People don't know how to manage their time. So from these findings, we came up with 4 recommendations to increase the attendance overall. The time of the event should be based on a survey distributed out to new members and consecutive members at the beginning of each semester. This will reflect student schedules and a more relevant data set that can be consecutively compiled over the years and provide a better time of event of placing these semester activities. Emails and posters. Emails should be sent and posters should be all around campus to be able to inform the mentors and mentees of the events. And was a part of one of our recommendations that was found in secondary and primary research was that an entertainment activity rather than an informative activity would increase attendance and fulfill our purpose. And finally, our mentee activity without a mentor would avoid the lack of interest from a mentee, or a mentor and a mentees can acquaint themselves and build a better foundation in the entire organization. So now Katie will summarize all of this and open the floor for questions.
So to conclude our presentation, I'm just going to go over our primary and secondary research and the recommendations we got from those. Our main recommendation that we got from both the primary and secondary research is to have events that focus more on entertainment and activities rather than information and like academic events. So we know currently they have an event, like an academic speaker comes in and gives tips, and we found that that probably wouldn't be very entertaining for students. And so we recommend having an event that has more interactive games and activities that people could keep up their interest with, as opposed to these informational events that they currently have. So at this time, I would like to thank everyone for watching our presentation and thank Natalie for everything that she's helped us with throughout the semester with all of our questions, and Michelle, thank you for your guidance throughout the semester. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask.